Yeah, come on. Trying to have some patience. I'm tired. Installed a headache rack. Rotated my tires on my one ton with one jack, two stands. I'll tell you what, that's kind of work and make your babies be born naked. Actually, be honest, that's birth control. I heard all over. Although it's not a big going concern these days about birth control. Now that the jokes are out of the way, Revelation chapter 12. Hello, Kathy. There you go again, coming in about the same time I'm starting the video. I thought you was going to be 10 o'clock. Well, I'll tell you what. Chapter 12, Revelation. There appeared great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. This is Israel. Jumping down to verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a dragon having 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his head. 4. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. From the beginning, Satan, when he left heaven, he took a third of the angels with him. He's been figuring out a way to defeat God's plan. And the only way he knows to defeat God's plan is to do away with Israel. As we've talked about before, the Prince of Persia, which is one of the most powerful demons, which is modern day Iran. That's why the wars continue. And it's also why there's no reason for the U.S. to be involved in wars over there. It's been going on since the beginning of time, and it will go on until the end of time. I think we all agree on that read our Bibles and know the situation. I'm going to jump down here to 7, chapter 12, verse 7, Revelation. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragons. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. I tell you, this is about Satan's defeat. Jump back here to Hebrews. That's John. Jump back here to Hebrews 12. Hebrews 2:14. Forsake as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is, the devil. The devil has always tried to outmaneuver and figure out his way to use people to help him destroy Israel. From as far back as the days of Jesus, when he was tempted by the devil, through all the tyrants and like all the way up through Hitler, Obama, you know, he was with Iran and the Palestinians and all the nations over there that's going to eventually group up and come against Israel in the final days. Even Russia, the Bible talks about, and the country to the north, which is Russia. Anyway, let's move to verse 9 in chapter 12 in Revelation. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, the 1/3 that his tail drug. Angels were called stars. Angels are light. Satan, angel of light. The great white horse. We've talked about that. 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser, Satan, of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. 14. And the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times and a half time, from the face of the serpent. You know, God protects us from Satan, and you know, there's a horrible place in the Euphrates River, or close to the river, that there are some horrible demons that's locked up that God will not loose, not until the tribulation, after the 3.5 weeks, of course, mind you, but that's for another discussion. Chapter 13, let me see what I can do here to begin. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Boy, that's a horrible being, isn't it? Revelation 14:13. We're still here. We're going to talk about this for a minute. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. Now this is the Antichrist, when the devil so chooses which one, and God allows it to be the time. And of course it will be after the what am I trying to say? After the rapture, we will not as saints, believers, we will not be here to see this. But the ones who see the Antichrist make lightning come down from heaven, it's amazing how a long time ago the true Jesus Christ was shunned and not believed. But the Antichrist, they will just take to him like nobody's business, man. I mean, they'll just believe him when he shows these great wonders. What? Making lightning come down. Yeah, that's a great wonder. But so is raising people from the dead and coming back from the dead yourself. Healing diseases, making people walk that couldn't, making the blind be able to see. I mean, getting rid of leprosy. Are those not great wonders to believe and know that that's the true Messiah? Anyway, be it as it may. Revelation 13, 14. I'm sorry, I said 14 more ago. I'm still in 13. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth after the rapture, by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, the ones that still dwell, that did not accept God before that, did not have Jesus Christ in their heart, they're still here, and they have to go through this. That they should make an image of the beast. Where have we heard that before? Oh yeah, somewhere on that trip that Moses took them. Remember, half of them, or majority, whatever, they made them a little golden calf. But anyway, which had been wounded, which had been wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, that is talking about taking the mark. There's talk all the time. All this chip implant that you get, that's the mark. Our cards that we use at the bank and wherever we go shopping, that's the mark. No, there's no mark. We won't even have to deal with the mark. If you're left here because you're not a believer in Jesus Christ, you will not be forced to take the mark of the beast. It'll be a choice. Now, if you choose not to, not only will you not be able to buy, sell, trade, eat, whatever, you'll be just like ISIS. You'll have your head cut off. But you will do it in the name of Jesus, because you've decided that, hey, I really fouled up, and this is my last chance. So, and he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy, sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Like I said, you don't have to take the mark if you hadn't received Jesus Christ in your heart and you're left behind after the rapture. You don't have to take the mark. You can be a martyr. It's going to take some courage. It's going to take some balls of brass, what it's going to take. It's easier just to accept Jesus before all this starts. Many of you that watch, I have no fear that you have. I know you've accepted Christ, but if anybody sees this that hasn't, I strongly suggest that that you do so. I'll tell you what, before I really start chapter 14 and go much further into this, I believe I'm just going to call this good. And well, actually, before I call it good, I'm going to jump back here right quick and go over this. Actually, chapter 14 of John. I want you to, some of you that study will recognize some of this. And it has to do with the rapture also. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye that believe in God, believe also in me. This is Jesus talking. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. Man, as a Christian, is that not comforting? To not have to put up with, the tribulation and having your head cut off because you won't take the mark, or worse yet, you don't have the power, the faith to say no, and you take the mark, and now you're eternally damned for all time, forever. Man. John 14, chapter 6, or chapter 14, verse 6. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. If you're trying to show somebody salvation, there's nothing better than that. Except maybe same John chapter 14, verse 21. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved by my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself in him. You love Jesus. You accept Jesus. That means you accept the Father. And the Father loves you also. And Jesus will enter your heart, control your life, lead you and guide you. Man, if you want to strengthen your faith, if there's one verse that you really want to memorize and just know, it's John chapter 14, verse 21. That's a really, really powerful thing to know and to keep with you. I'll tell you what, I'm going to let that go for now. Let that be it. I'm not going to get into a long, drawn-out 1 hour doodad tonight because nobody's really got an hour to sit and listen to me. So, anyway, I hope that was a decent message. Hope it went together and you understood it. Listen to it several times if you want to. Find the chapters and read and study. And like I say, I'm seriously tired, but I just felt like I wanted to share this. I'm not going to share a message every night, but this one was just on my mind, so I thought I'd do so. Well, all right. Anybody that sees this, I thank you. And y'all have a good evening. All right, then.